All right. Well, welcome to your weekend, Pastor Ben. Glad to be uh, on here with you this morning. Give a moment for people to jump in here. Um, Okay. Um, cool. Glad you could be in here. So we are approaching Palm Sunday this Sunday. Hopefully you can be with us on Sunday. I wanted to bring up something. There are a few ways for people to be participating actively in some advocacy work right now. And Brian has a few links for items that are coming up. But I want to plant an idea in your head. Um, a few years back, Irene Damaris, who is a deaconess in the United Methodist Church, a longtime Foundry friend, she's now out in Iowa. But a long time ago, not a long time ago, a few years ago, we had talked about um, the concept of a table flip Monday um, for Holy Week. And we've never quite gotten anything um, officially done related to it. But kind of the long and short of it is this: as we go into Holy Week, if you remember the story, obviously we'll celebrate on Thursday, Monday, Thursday. We'll celebrate Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and Easter Sunday. We ignore some opportunities on Monday, Tuesday after Palm Sunday to think of some creative ways to um, engage a justice entry into the kingdom setting. One of the good fun narratives around that is Jesus in the temple when he flips the tables and you know chases out the money changers. Essentially, why are you leveraging holy space for unholy work? Oversimplification. But when Irene and I had talked about it, um, we always thought it'd be fun. We can't do it this year, but it'd be fun to either go down in front of the Wilson Building because this is budget season for DC, either out on Freedom Plaza or down in the lower level of the Wilson Building and just do the symbolic act of flipping the tables, all the things that we've placed onto these little altars and hold um, as holy that are quite unholy for this city, especially as we consider and move through our budget process. So I wanted to give you a couple of ways maybe you can go out and flip some tables in the next few weeks. One opportunity is next Wednesday, and Brian has the link for this. It's Wednesday the 31st, I believe, right? Yep. So Wednesday the 31st, there will be a rally with the Congregation Action Network, the folks that we do our immigration and sanctuary work with, and they will be down at the ICE headquarters, which is over here in Southwest DC, really close to L'Enfant Plaza. And they'll be there at noon for a rally, um, continuing the fight around uh, ending deportations and ending family and child detention. And um, maybe the table that needs to be flipped there is some party loyalty. Um, Always be willing to call out your own crew if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So try as we might in our bureaucratic processes, we know we're not where we need to be yet. And so the pressure continues. We know that vulnerable lives are still vulnerable. And so we'll continue to stand with immigrant neighbors as we fight for what we know is right. So if you want to be out there with Congregation Action Network, that's a good opportunity next Wednesday. Um, and Brian's going to put the details in there. The link is at the top of the email that I dropped to him. Some other opportunities that are kind of come up later in April in terms of advocacy will be some gatherings with the Washington Interfaith Network. Like I said, we're in the budget process for DC. We're watching a lot of development projects around the city, especially those involving the use of public land. And as you may or may not know, over the last as in 12 to 15 years, we've lost 20,000 residents of color. The number's higher now, but 20,000 residents of color as various properties and projects, especially public housing, has been torn down and not rebuilt in a timely fashion, often taking 10 years or more to get done. That includes places around Navy Yard, but also Temple Courts that's up by Gonzaga off of North Capitol, and plenty of other spaces. Berry Farm has been torn down, but the proposals are not in place. The groundbreaking hasn't taken place, so it'll be years on end. But that's how displacement happens a lot of times. It's not just the rising rent, it's also the failure to replace the units that the city tears down. So we're really watching closely these activities that are taking place on public land, and it's 2 dates. They haven't selected one yet, but we'll gather up with Washington Interfaith Network either on April the 24th or May the 1st to get together to talk pretty specifically about a space of land called Reservation 13 and the land around where DC General used to be and the land around where RFK is. And if you don't remember, the DC General Hospital used to be over there. It was torn down a few years ago, but had been used for many years as the kind of warehousing space of unhoused families. And that is in 2014 where Relisha Rudd disappeared when she was 8 years old. That's being talked about on the Through the Cracks podcast on NPR if you want to learn the backstory. But the next steps over on that land is to build something new, and knowing everything that area has been through, the violence that's been incurred there, the mistreatment of unhoused families that's happened over there. What happens next on that property is really important, and it should not be for more violence or more displacement, especially of vulnerable or low-income residents. So I'm watching very closely. Wynn's watching very closely. I hope you are as well. But either on May the 24th or, April 24th or May the 1st, we'll be gathering up with Wynn. So I hope you will watch for that date so that we can continue to plan strong actions around how we influence what happens on public land in DC. So watch out for those. Now for everybody, because I know not everybody is in DC, April the 18th is our Great Day of Service. If you're ready and if you're in a space where you're ready to come out and serve together, we will be outdoors on the Foundry Plaza on April the 18th, and we will be packing meals with Rise Against Hunger. It'll be 15,000 meals, and we'll do it in small shifts for about 45 minutes each. We'll have our masks. We'll be outside under a tent, and we'll keep our distance and everything like that. But it's not only this good opportunity to be together to pack these meals that get used all around the world for emergency situations and school programs, but it's also a chance for us to be in service, in person, and together. So if you're able to make it, I hope you will. If you're not able to make it, you can, as always, join with us by sponsoring some meals virtually, helping us pay for them. You can sponsor 100 meals from our 15,000 with just a $29 donation. A lot of impact for not a lot of funds. So if that's within your budget, then please help out in that way. And if it's within your kind of public tolerance to come and be there with us in person, then we would definitely need the help, and we'll welcome you, and it'll be a really great chance for us to be together and in service. Hope you will keep your eyes out for the different ways you can continue to join in, whether that's with Congregation Action Network or with WIN, or if you're just exploring something from where you are, if you're not here in the DMV area and wanted some help thinking through the things you could be doing right now. I'm always happy to help think through with you what's critical. So that's about it for me. We will touch on Georgia because it's the weekend, so we got to wrap up all this ridiculous news. So and in particular because they in Georgia, as they have signed these more restrictive voting laws, they've included some related to ID, and as people who are connected to Foundry, I need to dissuade you of any notion that an ID law related to voting or any other essential function of our life together in public, never have it in your mind that the ID process is any kind of easy. We know that intimately as the Foundry community. We do it, the ID process, hundreds of times every single week with vulnerable neighbors. The cost can easily run $80 to try and get all the things that you need. It can take a month to do it very quickly. It can take up to 3 years, has been the longest one that we have worked on. And requiring that, forcing people to make those expenses, forcing people to do all of that hoop jumping just so they can vote is absurd. It's ridiculous. It helps nothing. It secures nothing because there was nothing to secure. And I never want our Foundry people to think that it is in any way innocuous or inconsequential that these things are being passed as it relates to the way that we ask our neighbors and ourselves to engage in public life. So never let that little thought get in your mind where you think, oh, well, people can get an ID. Don't have that thought. You know better. We know better. So continue to use your voice to help our neighbors, whether it's for education, housing, jobs, voting, whatever it is. Use your voice to fight for them and never let people say it's really easy to do it and it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. I hope you have a good weekend. We will see you on Sunday for Palm Sunday. We'll do our wavy, singy thing, and we will see you 11:15 for worship. Talk to you soon. Have a good weekend. Bye bye, everybody.